Well, Allan, great to sit down with you. And as we were just talking about, my name's Dan Mrvos, and I'm with Ridge Security. And we are a company that provides the next generation of penetration testing, providing automated and continuous penetration testing on site for customers to get them into a continuous security stance. And as you might expect these days, we're using AI to further that technology, to make it smarter, to make it faster. And that's going to play into what I heard you talk about in your general session earlier. But I understand you're the CISO of NTT Data. So.
No, not NTT Data. NTT Global Data Centers, which is a division of NTT Data.
Oh, interesting.
I'm only over the Global Data Centers division. We're the third largest data center company on the planet. 120 plus data centers around the planet, and I get the pleasure of securing all of them, which is really fun.
Wow. That is quite a job. And where do you have the most concentration of data centers?
Oh, boy, that's a good question. Concentration-wise, I guess probably U.S. we have more, but it's interesting. It's all over. I mean, I could literally just rattle off a list of countries right now and just keep going for a while and bore the audience, but a lot of them everywhere.
Right. Well, the question I've asked other people I've spoken with today, and I think yours is going to be yet another interesting answer, is what do you see as the unique challenges or perhaps the unique threats for your particular business?
Yeah. So in addition to being the CISO, I am the designated, they literally call me the AI business leader. I am driving the AI initiatives as well as the cybersecurity initiatives. And I would argue that beyond normal data center physics, which I think that everyone can figure out, what do I care about in terms of securing a data center? I don't think that's a rocket science story to get into. It's the AI piece itself that's more fascinating to me. The intersection of AI and cybersecurity right now, to me, is really compelling. Not just that the bad guys are using AI, not just that the good guys are using AI, but the fact that AI produces products in its own right, which in turn can also be vulnerable and or malware vectors. AI is literally 360 degrees on everything related to security right now. And the intersection of the two, to me, is the most fascinating.
Mm-hmm. So when you think about how you're applying AI in that particular business, and you were talking in your general session about the transformation that we saw with going to the cloud, and security to the cloud, and how if anyone resisted that from a security standpoint, they were left behind.
Yes.
That got me thinking about it, and it got me thinking about the economies of scale, the management, the reliability, the uptime that specialized data center providers and specialized SaaS providers were able to deliver, that on-site could not compete with.
Right.
Now that we're going through the AI revolution, what are those functionalities or capabilities that you see are going to be delivered by an organization like yours?
Yeah, it's interesting because as far as AI is concerned, like it's a great conversation starter, this whole idea of cloud, right? The whole idea was, what did we have originally? We had on-prem, and then we went to the cloud, and what did the cloud offer? Better resilience, better uptime, and better all kinds of things, and supposedly better cost, which quickly we all learned wasn't true. It doesn't necessarily have an analog with AI in my mind, and the reason for that is that AI is already democratized. It's not like there's an AI provider over there who's offering a better version of my on-prem AI over here. The sky's the limit. The AI is everywhere. It's on-prem. It's in the cloud. It's agentic. It's large language models. It's everything you can think of and everything in between. So I don't know that there's a clear delineation to draw the metaphor from that same experience. I think the lessons learned from that experience are really more lessons about, geolocation matters, right? Like and even virtual location matters. Where do I want to host my AI stuff? But that's still ultimately that same cloud versus on-prem conversation, if you really think about it, right? Like that layer still exists underneath AI. And so to me, the analogy from that story to this story is much less about what does one offer over here versus over there, and it's more about who can offer it better. Am I going to do it in-house? Am I going to bring them out of house? And at the same time, who's doing it better, the good guys or the bad guys? And that's the other interesting twist.
Yeah. No, absolutely. And I think that's the main topic of today.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Sword and shield, as everyone says. And so that kind of gets me to the next layer of questions, because I've been thinking about this as, well, there are two sides to this. There's the threat that AI poses from the outside in. Better, faster, smarter, the most intelligent human-able hacker that can see all possibilities. Then we have the use of AI within the business, and everyone is concerned about, well, its productivity and creativity versus what if that also can be turned into a bad actor?
Yes. Yes.
Now, obviously, security threats have always been the ability to subvert a running process.
Yeah.
But now subverting it is instructing it to be creative and figure out its own way through the organization. So what a lot of people have been talking about today are really just doubling down and making sure that all of the traditional controls are in place first.
Yeah.
Do you see anything beyond that?
Oh, of course. Of course I do. You know, any CISO who stands up and says, don't forget the fundamentals, always focus on the fundamentals, 100% right. Absolutely agree with that statement. And I call them the fundamentals, not the basics. And I stole this years ago from someone else, and I wish I could remember who I stole it from because they deserve the credit for this one. But the idea is basics implies it's easy. Fundamentals implies it's fundamental, but not necessarily easy. And that's a super important thing to think about. When you talk about people, process, and technology, the people part, the process part, this stuff is hard to do. This is not easy to do. And even the foundational technologies you deploy, these are hard to do. We talk about the on-prem versus the cloud, ignore AI. Let's go back all the way to on-prem. Just simply securing your on-premises environment, the foundational technologies required to do that take some effort, take some skill, take some work, take some maintenance, take some pen testing to validate and test and secure and loop back on. All that's in place. Now you add cloud. Your attack surface just got much more complex and your ability to control the environment got reduced simultaneously. Now you add AI and you have a velocity problem. It's cloud all over again, but now with velocity. And on top of that, in cloud security, I don't sit here and worry about my bucket is going to get hacked by the bad guy's bucket. And with AI, 100%, that's the situation as well. So now we've introduced velocity and now we've democratized the tooling. And as soon as the tooling is democratized, it's just like terrorism is the democratization of violence. It's out there. One man's freedom fighter is another man's terrorist. And there will be threat actors who are as empowered and as capable and as armed as we are. And we have to prepare for that. 100% we have to prepare for that. And that's where the foundation and the fundamentals will get you only so far. And if you're not embracing AI and fighting AI with AI, you've already started losing a race that is only going to accelerate from here.
So that is an interesting observation. And, to talk about the things like terrorists and state actors. I mean, I think what you're probably suggesting here is that almost anyone can have the level of knowledge and the capabilities of what were state actor threats in the past. Yeah, it's certainly a new world. Well, from our perspective as a vendor, and as a vendor that's creating automated penetration testing, we're seeking to reduce that feedback loop. And we're seeking to get people to a more continuous place of understanding the state of their business, and then use AI to actually expose real, actual exploits in the business as it exists today.
Yes.
In the old world, okay, here were some vulnerabilities that you found last quarter. The team's working on rectifying them, but a lot of other things have happened in that intervening time. Now, here's the interesting question. We still find a lot of resistance to organizations taking on that capability because it has traditionally existed in more of a compliance framework. From a regulation standpoint, an organization might need to do it once.
Check a box. Here's our pen test. We ran it. Right. Here's our executive summary. Yay, I can wave it in front of customers. Good to go, right? No.
And so, so talk about either how does that mindset shift?
Yeah.
Or what is the right argument to enlighten people to say, look, continuous compliance is the only way to deal with continuous threat?
Yeah. Well, I would just say, first of all, let's quit calling it continuous compliance. Let's start right there. What we're really saying is continuous monitoring of attack surface, continuous validation of the hardening of that attack surface, and continuous validation that even if I do manage to get through, I can't get through any further. I mean, a good pen test doesn't just hit the outer firewalls and stop. Penetration testing, it's in the definition. You're trying to go deeper and deeper and deeper into the org.
Yes.
You want constant, continuous pen testing cycles, and this even pre-AI, I'm saying this is the rule of the game. You want to do them way more frequently than just checking the box architecture, and you want to do them in a very targeted way. You want to portion up your estate and get after them all on a frequent basis, and you want to go as deep and aggressive and angry as you can. You want the evilest little people on the team hacking into your stuff. You want people that think good and do evil, or think evil and do good, or whatever, whatever that paradigm is you want to use. You have to get after it aggressively. You have to. And if AI can speed that up, if AI can collate and cross-reference and facilitate and make the pen testing go that much faster, that much more accurately, yes, sign me up. I want to do lots and lots of that, and I want to do that all the time.
Right.
It's more affordable than hiring the people all the time. Well, I can do it more frequently, yes. And in theory, the cross-referencing is there for me, right? And the cross-referencing is key. You can't just say, oh, I poked a little hole over here. Oh, a little one over here, a little one over there. Wait, these and these and this and this, let me get to this other place where I can now poke another hole and da-da-da-da-da. And the good pen testers do that. The good ones always do that. It's much more than, some of these pen test firms, we all know it. You basically get a vuln scan and that's about it. I want the evil ones. I want the angry ones. I want the ones who really, truly hate computers.
No, I agree completely. And I think the other thing that comes along with this is education of the business and education of the security team. The more of those very thorny vulnerabilities that are found, and then the remediations that are done, educates further to the left in the chain. Okay, how do we prevent this from happening? How did it happen? What was, and maybe it goes back into policy and procedure. It's not just all found later on in testing.
Yep. This is why I'm a big fan of purple over red versus blue. I really am. And the dream state, we were joking years and years and years ago, a friend of mine who is a CISO at another company, he and I were joking about the dream state. The pen testers are using AI on the red team, and the defenders are using AI on the blue team. And they're all sitting around in the conference room playing Pokemon on their phones and watching it all happen. And every now and again, checking in with each other and going, yo, it worked. Yo, it worked. Yo, it worked. That's the dream state, right? You want to get to the point where the cooperation is there. I fully believe a good pen test, the cooperation should be there, because you want to know real time. Hey, I just did the thing. Did you see the thing? Ooh, I didn't see the thing. Let's look at why you didn't see the thing. And while you're doing that, I'm going to look at how I can exploit the fact that you didn't see the thing and have that continuous dialogue. I love the purple teaming approach. And if we can get AI working on attack and defense both in that scenario and truly get it to the point where the humans are just babysitting the process and the process is taking care of itself, that really is the golden ticket. That's where we want to get to. And I think AI-based pen testing is a huge first step towards that ideal world of everyone sitting around playing Pokemon.
I like that. And it's interesting. It's what Robert Pace had said to me early this morning, and he expressed it a little bit differently, but he said, I see an AI model running, simulating the business and simulating what can go wrong. And I want to test over there rather than having to perturb my own business by doing it.
Right.
So,
like a true AI sandbox. That could be cool. That could be super cool.
Well, let me ask you two other quick questions to close out. Do you see any unattended threats or directions that you think the security industry should go in that you really don't see it driving towards?
I think vibe coding is being addressed in the sense of, oh dear, the prompts can do bad things. You can create bad code. We all know SAST and DAST and after the fact and all that, right? Okay, great. As I pointed out in my session, one of the problems is with prompt engineering code and talking at the command line terminal level with Claude Code or whoever you're using, whichever model you like to play with. You have this moment where the unskilled and uneducated, technically non-savvy, let's say, not uneducated, technically non-savvy, will watch this thing prompt them to do things on their computer that they don't understand, and they're just going to click and agree. And right now we have technologies out there that I've seen, and this is all very nascent, right? I mean, this is a whole brand new industry. Everybody's starting to throw AI at every problem. And I've seen AI that can help clean up the prompts, but I haven't seen anything that addresses the fact that I can sit there and vibe code and go, oh yeah, I'm okay with you doing that on my computer, and that too, and that too, and that too. But the guy down the hall who's not a CISO is just going to go, okay. And malware injections through that vector, I think we haven't even scraped the surface on what vibe coding is going to do to us in terms of malware injection. That's a vector. Like, we can SAST and DAST the final product. We can try to clean up the prompts. We can do the usual sec DevOps and DevSecOps and DevOps and SecOps and all the other opses. I think there's a malware injection vector there that everybody's ignoring right now. And that's a very small one, but the problem is vibe coding is not about to be small. I bring this up because it's tiny. But by tomorrow it's a little bigger, and by tomorrow it's a little bigger, and within a year your grandmother's going to be vibe coding, and we're going to have a serious landscape of malware.
So you have an explosion of code that has never existed before, so it hasn't been actually certified, it hasn't been examined, and
properly QA'd, properly secured, and who knows what it pulled down to do it, because AI is biased towards the success of the intended mission. It is always biased in that regard.
How it's trained.
That is how it was trained. Give the people what they want is the AI motto. Well, and the people don't know what they want and don't understand the cost of what they want. And that's where the bad guys get a crack in the door. So if we're not leveraging AI for all the good guy stuff, which includes pretending to be bad guys, we're doing it wrong.
Right. Well, it's very enlightening, and I'll ask you one final question. How do you keep abreast of all of this? Where do you seek information? What do you read, watch, or listen to stay informed?
Yeah, so I'm subscribed to probably 20 different AI newsletters at this point, literally 20 of them. And I found them through various nooks and crannies and means. Maybe a friend referred. One time I even saw a thing on Facebook. I'm like, okay, I'll sign up for that one too. LinkedIn had some. I signed up for those. Wherever I see and spot anything AI related, I sign up for all of them up front. And of course, obviously, I'm using email accounts that I don't care to have spammed to death. And I'm slowly sifting through the ones that seem relevant. And then there's always the usual CISO communication methods, right? I'm on a dozen at least CISO Slacks. A couple of Discords, et cetera, et cetera. I'm very active in the LinkedIn community and stay abreast of, stuff there. And people are constantly sending me things at LinkedIn. And, so between all of those factors, I feel like I've got a pretty strong handle on it that maybe a lot of CISOs don't necessarily have. And then part of it is just, that desire to experiment, right? Every good CISO started as a hacker, ideally, or started in the GRC space, which I would still regard as policy hacking. Be curious and experiment. The number of AI projects I am running at the house right now is significantly beyond what most human beings even are vaguely beginning to do. And I plan to keep that up. I plan to be outpacing most of us all the time, always with stuff. I will literally, I'll pick a hobby and be like, okay, how can I AI the heck out of this hobby? How can I attack that? How can I defend that? Let me go play with new AI tools that'll do these things. I am never not learning and experimenting with new technology. And I may be a weirdo in that regard, but that's part of my approach.
But I think it's good advice, and it was good advice to the general session. And I've asked that question 3 times today, and there've been 3 different answers, and yours has taken it definitely in the community approach. And so very, very interesting and informative. So thanks for coming in and talking with us today.
Awesome. Thank you.